Joining us now on Sports Talk ATL, Big Low Country. Now, if you don't know who Big Low Country is, go follow him on YouTube. It is right there in the bottom. He's a great follow for humor, laughs, all game reactions, stuff like that. And his wife has created what should be the chant of all Falcons fans. And I'm going to do it. It's going to be embarrassing, but it's, hey, hey, ho, ho. Arthur Smith has got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho. Arthur Smith has got to go. Big Low Country, how you doing today?
What's going on, brother? How y'all doing this morning?
We are fantastic. Alex is under the weather, so he's being a champ. He's being a champ being here today. But I got to ask you, coming into this final week of the season, obviously as Falcons fans, we're all pissed off and stuff like that. But what's your take on this final week? Let me give you a hypothetical here, right? We somehow make the playoffs. The Panthers win, the Falcons win. We look the best. That saves Arthur Smith's job. Are you willing to make the playoffs and save his job? If we lose, which one would you rather have? We lose and he's fired, save his job, we make the playoffs.
I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you, Chase. It's one of those situations where we haven't been to the playoffs in so long, and I kind of feel like the same way Arthur Blank said making the playoffs wasn't a requirement for him to get fired. I don't think it's a requirement for him to be retained as well. I'm thinking that Arthur Blank may be looking at the overall improvement of the team. Now, if we look at the improvement of the team, just because the rest of the division was just trash, that doesn't mean that we should just go on to the playoffs just because everybody else was bad.
I'm with you 100%. I'm with you. First of all, I want to make the playoffs. Like, we haven't been in the playoffs for so long. Like, I would do I want a home playoff game. We get to play the Eagles. Like, are you kidding me? I hate Philly. Like, that would be, and Philly, they got a little turmoil in their locker room. I said on the show a few weeks ago, I was like, I think the Falcons at home, sneaky chances to beat Philly. Now we are not good. We are not good, but I'm just saying, it's the NFL.
Yes, or Dallas, because Dallas, they can't stop the run. Like, we're very familiar with the Dan Quinn, you know, positionless defensive players on the defensive line. So, I mean, that could be a great opportunity. I believe both teams are a really good matchup.
All right, back to Arthur Smith. I've kind of become known, I suppose, on YouTube as the Arthur Smith defender. And I want to be known that I could understand Arthur Blank going either way, firing him or retaining him. I want to talk about retaining him. And the biggest thing I've seen this entire season, the quarterback play has just been god-awful. I mean, do you agree with me? It's just god-awful. If we even just had average quarterback play, we'd be in the playoffs.
I mean, I agree with you, Alex. The quarterback play has been god-awful. But one thing that we have to consider is that Arthur Smith is one of the primary reasons why the quarterback play has been god awful. Think about it. Last year, whenever we brought in Marcus Mariota, first of all, we didn't try out any other quarterbacks. Marcus Mariota came in as as the starter. Like, we named him the starter before anybody put a pair of cleats on. So, we seen how that ended. Unfortunately, unceremoniously, in Carolina, the same way it ended unceremoniously for Desmond Ridder, right? In 2023, Desmond Ridder came in and he was the guy, and it didn't work out well.
I think he is not free of blame in all of this. Maybe take away personnel decision-making from Arthur Smith if that's the case. I imagine it's kind of a round table thing behind the scenes where Arthur Smith tells Fontenot kind of when he needs, Fontenot goes to work. Maybe Smith just needs to kind of butt out of the room and stick to what's on the field. Maybe that can be said. But my whole thing with all of this is like, how are you so sure the next guy, say a Ben Johnson or, Joe Brady? I see that a lot of times on social media. How do you know that guy's going to be the next guy? Like, finding a quarterback is always going to be the most important thing in this league.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. Like, we legitimately don't know, Alex. It's one of those things like my dad used to say back in the day, if we're a fifth, we'd all be drunk. So, so we can say if we bring in Ben Johnson, but I mean, all we could go off of is what we see right now. So we know that Arthur Smith, like Desmond Ridder, doesn't have a legitimate quarterbacks coach. We know that. We know that. Dave Ragone, like a lot of people just don't know what he does exactly. Like, does he check the tire pressure on everybody's vehicles? Like, what does he do? So we can just go off what we got now, Alex. And moving forward, I just don't see continuous improvement under Arthur Smith.
Yeah, this season has been, I think we've said it several times throughout the season. It feels like it's been 7 years long. It feels like it's been 7 years long. It's just been so many roller coasters, so many questions about job security and changing quarterbacks and all this. I don't think I remember such a tumultuous season, even with bad quarterback play, because it's just been raucous the entire year.
Yeah, yeah, and granted, Arthur Smith has done some really good things. Like we can't. I'm not completely discounting him. Like, he got us competitive to a certain extent, especially last year and the year before last with our roster and the salary cap limitations that we had. But if we want to take that next step, I feel like we might need to make a change.
See, I totally understand that. And I'm trying to present both sides of the argument where, listen, our offense for an offensive guru, I mean, he was brought into Atlanta because he succeeded in Tennessee, bringing that Titans offense to one of the best in the league. And we've spent 3 top 10 draft picks on skill position players. They're underutilized. As Chase said the other day, you know what you can count on a Sunday? Jonnu Smith and Tyler Algier. And that's just a shame. And that we're 25th or something in scoring in the league. I mean, it's completely unacceptable. I totally get people saying like, what are you good at, Arthur Smith? So I totally understand that point of view.
Yeah, I mean, and it's just like you said, those last 3 draft picks that we taken in the top 10. I mean, so let's say we do keep Arthur Smith and draft Michael Penix Jr. I mean, Arthur Smith, he'll probably split them out at wide receiver or something. There's no telling.
I think we did have some plays in year 1 where Matt Ryan was split out. I really think we did. I don't know if I can remember. But let's get into this game this week because it is the Aints. And, we both went to LSU. So we know Aints fans from all over. This is the biggest rivalry even without that. But I think it just kind of exacerbates it because it's like we're surrounded by them in terms of friends and stuff like that. And we love beating them. And I don't care what Falcons fans say. I don't care if we were 3-13 going for the number 1 overall pick. I would want to win this game. How do you feel about it? Do you think the Saints can go into one of the toughest places to play in the NFL and get a dub this week? Because they looked great against them last time.
Yeah. I definitely feel like it's a possibility. I feel like the Saints are kind of flailing. Derek Carr, I feel like the Saints are upside down on their car payment. The car is a total loss. Yeah, I mean, I definitely feel like we match up very well with them. And I mean, moving forward, if we could get a couple of turnovers, I think we could get them by at least 7 points.
About a month ago, we beat them at home. I was at that game. I felt really good about the team. Everybody felt good about the team. We were like, we're going to go to the playoffs. We're finally starting to see that rhythm that we've been talking about. And then, the wheels fall off a couple weeks later against the Panthers. But everything, I don't know. Like Chase said, beating the Saints should always be priority number 1, no matter what's on the line, playoff spot or draft pick. It doesn't matter to me. And I get why people are like, if we lose, maybe Arthur Smith is gone. That's what I want the most. I want to win football games. I don't care who's coaching that. I don't care who's coaching the team.
Yes, I completely agree with you. And it's one of those cases, moving forward, like I said, let's just finish the season out and everybody, because think about it, in March, April, and May, we're going to be wishing that we could have some Falcons football, and we don't want our last memory is just to get drugged and fall out of an ugly tree and get bit by an ugly dog and beat by an ugly stick by the Saints. Like, we don't want that,
Well, let's wrap this thing up with some predictions for that game. How about that? Who wants to go first? Alex, do you want to go first?
I'll go first. I haven't looked at the gambling lines or anything like that, but I'll just pull something out of my butt. I'm going to go pretty ugly game, 20-17 Falcons. Panthers beat the Bucks, and we're hosting a playoff game.
Woo.
And we beat the Eagles. You heard it here first.
I'm going to go 23-16. I'm going to go 23-16. Koo makes all of his field goals, and I agree.
Koo's been a little up and I mean, he was so solid there for about 10, 11 weeks, but the last 4 or 5 been a little shaky for us. Listen, I think Dennis Allen and Derek Carr, that pairing, we need to keep them in New Orleans as long as they can go. So that might be another upside if we can somehow, if we do lose this game, if they stay there. But that is one of the worst coaching quarterbacks.
Hang on, before you give your prediction, that's probably what they're saying down in the Bayou about the Falcons and Arthur Smith.
We're looking at ourselves in the mirror, like we really are just looking at ourselves in the mirror, and it's But hey, we haven't gone. I can't remember the last time we went 2-0 against
2016.
2016.
Wow, really?
Let's do it. Yeah, let's do it. Let's go. I'll say Heineke. I'll say 24-20. Heineke leads a game-winning touchdown drive. But Big Low Country, I want to thank you so much for joining us. This was awesome. You were awesome. Hopefully, we can have you on next week and we'd be talking about a playoff game or something like that instead of the season ending.
That sounds like a plan, my friend.
Yeah. And remember, go follow him on YouTube at Big Low Country. It's right down there at the bottom of the screen.